Hello, Taurus. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Taurus is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. It is totally free, doesn't cost anything. If there is anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon, it's very nice, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Taurus, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And a bright, luminous sun. This is enlightenment. This is the card of health and wealth. This is a card of clarity and perspective. This is a higher perspective, right? This is identifying with our very truest self. Yeah. And we had some surprise cards come out. What do we have? But the High Priestess, right? So we'll put that card down as well. We had two other cards that decided to show up. One is the Eight of Wands and the Hanged Man. I like this already. This it feels like a very good transition for you, especially with that Hanged Man in the past position. I feel like you've sort of gotten used to a life of sacrifice, right? You've maybe gotten used to a life of putting yourself last, yeah. And now I think that you've suffered enough. You've paid your dues. Right? And it is not the same person that is rising from this. It is, you're being sort of reborn as this spiritual self. Okay? And Spirit is right here guiding you the entire way. The High Priestess, Six of Cups, and Princess of Pentacles. Now, life, the potential for life is wide open. And now everything that you want to do, it seems like the world is your oyster now. With the Princess of Pentacles, it's kind of like everywhere you look, you're seeing opportunity. Yeah. The another special alignment here is the High Priestess, because the High Priestess is card number 2. Shows us the way, obviously, to card number 3, which is what? The Empress, right? So the High Priestess is always trying to show us how to get to our Empress life, our paradise, our best life, the good life, you know. And what do I always say about the Princess of Pentacles? Well, it is the potential. It holds the potential to grow into that Empress energy. Okay? So this is very, very interesting. It's kind of saying that, you know, your life is turning around, that all of your suffering, all of your sacrifice now, it is time to emerge from this situation. And it's time for you to claim what is yours, your true self, and follow your intuition into any number of places where you can sort of grow your best life, you know, where that life will blossom. Here we have that Star card. We have a Three of Wands. We have a Four of Cups and a Ten of Wands. Very interesting. The Star card as well, very interesting. We have the Star and the Sun, right? And of course the Sun is yet another star, but this one is you. Right, this one is you, and I feel like this is a major moment of enlightenment. A spiritual awakening is happening for you. Now we're going to select our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the Factor, Infinite, and Unknown. We're going to set it down right here with Tiny Bob Ross right on top. Happy little Bob. And now we're not going to look at that card until the very end, but it will tie everything together and give us the confirmation that we need. If at any point during this program you feel like you know what that card is, please put your prediction, your guess, your hunch down in the comments. All right. Let's take a look around the room. We know we've got some major arcana. 1, 2, 3, 4 major arcana energies. Okay. All of the suffering and sacrifice, all the dues that you have paid, it's now time to follow your intuition out of that, as being reborn as your true enlightened self, right? So that you can fulfill your destiny. I feel like there's a lot of karmic work that's been completed here, and it's time for you to emerge from whatever this water of that Hanged Man is or was. Okay, it could be that you have already sort of emerged from that situation. And I think the star is really the facilitator of that, because the star card has that twofold nature, right? There are two phases of the star card. The first phase is us allowing the light to come in. The light will come in and show us what's going on in us, show us where our knots of karma are, show us where our weak spots are, where our buttons are, right? So that we can start addressing that. We can start looking at what's going on within us that's preventing the light from flowing through us, right? All these blockages, all these knots of karma are interfering with the transmission of that light. Phase 2 of the star card is when that light starts to really spill out from us. Sometimes just in fragments, sometimes just in little beams of light, right? The more we work on ourselves, the more that light shines out from us, unimpeded. And what it's doing is showing us where we need to go, what we need to interact with. It shows us those things that are meant for us, shows us our path. It illuminates the sidewalk, that we're supposed to walk down. It allows us to share our gift with the world. So the more internal work we do, the more we clear away the blockages, that light is going to be able to shine through us perfectly. And then, we become the magician. That's ultimately what the goal here is, right? Becoming capable of manifesting our will, manifesting our destiny, right? Through the function of this star card. And what happens when we are doing that work of the star card and we're clearing away those blockages, well, we become this radiant sun. There's no blockages here. That light is radiating out fully in all directions, right? The light of your true self is shining now because of whatever this situation was. It was like a karmic debt that you had to pay. Okay? And Spirit's saying, okay, it's time to rise up out of this and start functioning in the world as this true sort of enlightened being. I think that enlightenment is something that happens continuously over time. There are moments of, aha kind of enlightenment, but it's something that we have to maintain and we have to continue. So Spirit's telling you, look, your light is shining really, really bright right now. Keep it that way. Right? Don't neglect that light. Don't let it dim. Don't let more blockages to come and build up. Don't let more knots of karma sort of, start to diminish the way that light is shining out into the world. Okay? So we see the major arcana, obviously, when we have fire, fire, fire. We've got water and water. I don't have any swords cards here, but we've got some earth energy. The absence of the swords cards, it tells me that there aren't any, that a lot of the blockages, a lot of the knots of karma have been untied for you. Okay, I think that the Hanged Man was maybe a very long but a very intense period of self-exploration, an intense period of kind of paying off that karmic debt. Okay, and the absence of the swords cards is kind of saying, like, we're not letting our mind, our intellect, our left brain, or our ego even interfere with this enlightening that we're going through, this awakening, okay? Because the swords cards would then be that we're trying to intellectualize it, we're trying to analyze it, we're trying to argue with it, perhaps, right? And we're not doing that. We're trusting our intuition. We're following this high priestess. We're following the spiritual energy, knowing that it's leading us in the right direction. We're following that, the starlight, right, or the moon. The moonlight is, it's a reflection of the sun anyway, right? So I feel that we are able to see the path before us, and it's leading you to a new opportunity where I think you're going to be able to really grow your best life, build your best life right here, right now. Okay? And the Princess of Pentacles is going to transform into the Empress life, your big rock candy mountain. It's right here, right now for you. All we got to do is start living it. Yeah. So a lot of really good energy here. The High Priestess, of course, is that messenger from the divine, right? It is that beam of light that is shining out from you and kind of shining on a particular doorway, a particular path for you and saying, go that way. Okay? And so I think your intuition is sort of leading you to the Princess of Pentacles. the Eight of Wands underneath everything, I think you're somebody that is prone to some anxiety, I think. You're somebody that likes to always have something to do, right? Sometimes this anxiety is like, we get the jazz hands. We're getting kind of antsy. I want to move, but I don't know which way to go. So we end up kind of taking a couple steps this way and then pulling back, a couple steps this way, and then we pull back. So we're expending a lot of energy, but we're not really moving anywhere. And I think this is kind of like, you like to be doing something. You like to be engaged in some sort of work or some sort of activity or some sort of relationship or conversation. And the Hanged Man is kind of, that was the challenge for you. The Hanged Man is kind of alone and quiet and not doing it. It's like you have all this pent-up energy, but the Hanged Man, you see that we're fixed here. We're not able to move, right? That we are not allowed to do any of this. So this is something that we really had to deal with. And I think that a big part of this, the Hanged Man work for you, was to try to find a way to deal with this underlying anxiety of life, because anxiety is something that's very amorphous. It's kind of diffuse, that there is this almost like a fear or a panic, but we don't know why. We can't identify what it is that really has caused it. Sometimes it's in response to something that happens out in the world. It's a stimulus, and of course now I'm responding in a certain way. I've got this autonomic like arousal, and my blood's pumping faster, and all this stuff, and and so it makes sense that okay, I know why I feel this way, because this thing's happening out there, and I've got to deal with it. Right? It's something we can identify. But what about when we start feeling that autonomic arousal, but we don't know where it's coming from? I don't know what the stimulus was. And so, I'm prone to anxiety as well. And so sometimes a friend or a loved one will ask me, well, why are you feeling that way now? Like what triggered it? That's the point. I don't know. Because if you know, then okay, well, that's what I've got to deal with in some way. That's the mission. That's the work for me right now. But if we can't identify it, we don't know where to apply ourselves, right? So I think the star card really, the energy of the star, the spiritual karmic work now, the divine force in your life is illuminating those areas of your life where you feel the most kind of tension, anxiety, fear, the most kind of, that autonomic arousal, that fight, flight, or freeze kind of energy for you to deal with. Okay? It's showing you within yourself really, right? Showing you what those so-called triggers are, what those buttons are. So the Hanged Man can deal with those. And it may feel like the Hanged Man is just sort of, hanging out, right? And not really doing anything, not engaged with the world. But it was, and I think this is a period of time that's ending for you. This was a lot of work. A lot of things that you were dealing with inside of yourself, even though to someone from the outside looking in, it just seems like, well, you're not doing anything. You're not busy. You're not moving around. You're not running around, running errands and building things, and you're not just, crazy active, Because the Hanged Man is a lot of that interior work. Sort of diving down, and so maybe this was a period where you cut yourself off from people a little bit. You really had to go within. And when you go within, it is this really intense activity. People can't really see it from the outside, But this is where most of the work takes place. Most of it is an interior kind of thing. And I think that really explains why we don't see a lot of Earth cards here. We see a little bit with the Princess of Pentacles, right? Because it's kind of like now we're ready to apply everything we've learned in this interior karmic work here. Everything that we've learned about ourselves and who we have become, who you are now. I think right now you're such a confident and optimistic and radiant, charming person. With that Sun card, I feel like the people around you now they're going to look at you and they're going to think something's changed. You're beaming with light. You're like literally glowing, Whereas before, people kind of looked at you in this way and just said, I don't know what's going on with old Taurus there. So really a big shift for you. I feel like it is kind of a rebirth energy, okay? And the earth energy that we see, of course, is the Princess of Pentacles, and this is now ready to engage with the world. And now I'm emerging. It's almost like a hermit sort of energy, right? Emerging from this hermit mode, but really it's our hanged man mode. Emerging from this, and now I know where I want to go. I know what I want to do. I know how to do it. It's like you've spent a lot of time alone in the desert, and you've had this epiphany. You've had this spiritual experience, and now you're coming back to the world, and you're thinking, I know exactly what to do, and I'm ready to do it. There's no swords cards too. There's no debate. There's nothing to figure out anymore. It really is just like this this spiritual experience, this enlightenment, this spiritual awakening. And in the future position is the Princess of Pentacles. So you can see which opportunity is meant for you, and you know exactly what to do, where to go, what to do, and how to do it. Okay. The Six of Cups is a very nice card. I'm happy that we see this, because to me this feels like collaboration and community rather than conflict and competition. So you might be someone who is prone to conflict and competition, right? And so I think that this is a major shift in your energy, that now it's all about, what can I contribute to the whole? How can I be part of this group? How can I make this not just good for me, but how can I make this good for everybody? You know, with that Sun card, it's such a radiant, I mean, this is one of the most beautiful cards in the tarot, is the Sun card. And with that sort of radiance, it's kind of like you can see everything. You can see past, present, and future. You can see all the consequences of your actions. You can see inside of other people and what they need and who they really are, you know. You have this ability, it feels like empathy, but it goes even beyond that. Because I feel like you're kind of sensing the unity of everybody. It's not just I can empathize with you. I can imagine what you're going through, and that gives me some sympathy for you. No, you're basically saying, I am you. And so what you're going through, I'm going through too. You know? So it's kind of, to me, it feels deeper than an empathy. But you really have this sense of community now, and I feel like this is just a stronger relationship with your friends and family, but it also is extending out to strangers and to just the universe at large. Yeah, you feel like the world is your home now. You know, the world is your community, the world are your people. Yeah. And so it really is about this collaboration, about this connection, the depth of meaning with other people. And I think you're realizing that a good portion of what you need in your life is connection with other people. You're somebody that has a lot of light to give the world, you know. And now when we're moving into this physical space, right, which maybe you're sort of going to move into a new home, maybe this is a new business, a new location where you're going to start a business, or maybe this is you going to, I don't know, starting a new job somewhere, or whatever this new space is. I kind of feel like it's an empty space. And so I don't know what you're walking into, but I feel like you're walking into an empty room. You're doing it with the intention of creating a space for people, right? So it might be that your life or your work is shifting now towards something that's more interpersonal, you know, healthcare or healing, some of the healing arts. Maybe it's mental or emotional healing, maybe it's physical healing. But I feel like there's like, you're looking at this empty room and you're imagining all the people that are going to be in there, and you want to fill it up with love and connection, you know. And maybe it's just sort of representing your life. Your life now is this empty structure that you've created. Now you're ready to fill it up with people, with meaningful experiences, with cooperation, collaboration, and community. Yeah. So I think you've really, the Hanged Man really saw you purging out a lot of stuff that just wasn't serving your spirit anymore. Yeah. Feels very, very good. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. It is totally free. It doesn't cost anything. And leave a comment. Let me know where in the world you're watching from. Okay, your general energy is the Star card. And the Star card, we already talked about the two phases of the Star card, but really what the Star does is provides us with a path. It gives us work, shows us what to do, shows us the buttons inside, the knots of karma that we have to work on, and shows us the path outside of ourselves of how to navigate life. It is our North Star, right? And I think that at a time you kind of thought that this was a very distant thing, that you were just like, you always had a spiritual interest, right? You always had a kind of a spiritual awareness. Yeah. But the star still feels like it's a very distant thing. The star's way out there. It's something for the future. It's something that I aspire to, but I don't know if it's ever going to manifest. Whereas the sun, then, this is something now up close and personal. This is your very own star, right? This is kind of saying that, my goals are way out there and I may never actually achieve them, but now the star is right here, right now, and I feel like life is happening right now. Life is not something for later. Life is not something for, some point in the future, right? It is for right now. And the star is that sort of, the star is the aspiration or the spiritual awareness by which we navigate our lives. And I think that's the phase of the work that you're in now, is really understanding where your life is taking you, where your spirit, where your star is taking you. And it's into this new space that you are going to fill with love and connection and intimacy and beauty and joy and bliss and all that Six of Cups, community and collaboration, okay? Maybe it's an art collective, I don't know. Maybe it's some kind of a foundation or some kind of, I don't know, maybe something with food. I don't know what you're doing exactly. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that your spirit has led you here. Okay, God, goddess, deity has led you here. And as long as you follow that star, as long as you stay true to your North Star and continually kind of maintain the system so that these blockages don't accumulate and sort of interrupt or interfere with the flow of this spiritual energy, I think your life is always going to be full of love and community and intimacy and joy and bliss and all that stuff. Yeah, this is there's a lot of hope for the future here. It's a lot of hope that the future is now. That this is something that's happening right now for you. Okay, even though in a very causal kind of sense, we still have to, buy the building. Still got to buy the furniture. We still got to move the stuff in. We've still got to get the permits, and all these things still have to happen. So there is still this idea of there's a timeline here, but this is kind of like saying I'm living my divine life right here, right now, this second. Okay. Now the next card is the Three of Wands, and it's in the position of your relationships and of your environment. Okay. So, and it's a card called Virtue. Right? This is kind of saying that your body, your soul, and your spirit are geared toward doing the right thing, not only for yourself and your life, but I think your relationships with other people now have taken on kind of like a new depth, that people trust you, that people see you as a responsible person. People are recognizing that you're going to do the right thing, even if it seems detrimental to your ego, let's say, right? Because there's a certain trust in you now where you're just kind of saying, if I do the right thing, I know that Spirit's going to take care of me. I know that I'm going to be okay as long as I do the right thing. At least the closest thing that I can feel is the right thing. And so with the Three of Wands, this is your body, your soul, and your spirit. They're all saying yes. That's everything is pointing in this direction, and so I feel that this is a new way of you of interacting with the world itself. Yeah, I think all your relationships are benefiting from this, but particularly whatever this empty space is, whatever this new space is that you're creating. Okay, I feel like you're ready to put the down payment. You're ready to sign the papers. You're ready to say yes. Let's do it, whereas perhaps before there would have been a lot more swords cards. We would have said, well, I want to do this, but, there's all these other things. I have all these doubts. I have all these issues. I have all these insecurities. There's a lot of second guessing. We don't see that now. We just see yes. Let's do it. Yeah, there's this calm assertiveness here with the Three of Wands. And I don't know if you're starting your own business or if this is some kind of a move or some kind of a big purchase, but there's no debating it. It's just kind of like, it's the right thing to do, and I'm doing it. Let's move forward with this. So I think the ball is rolling on this, and again, it's kind of like the future's now, but there's still this timeline that has to happen. The Four of Cups is in the position of what you don't want, and to me, it really feels like that is a couple things. One, it's a mediocre life. You don't want to live a life where you just feel sort of okay about things. No, you want a Six of Cups life. Right? You want a spiritual life, a connected life. You don't want to just sort of squeak through life thinking, well, things weren't too bad. Well, they weren't that great either, right? This is also an awareness that we do not want to return to the emotional blockages that we experienced before. I think the Hanged Man was a lot of emotional stuff that you've purged. We definitely don't want to go back to those blockages. Sometimes the Four, this is like the emotional safe harbor, right? Where we've had all these storms, and so we go to this, we sort of, we anchor our ship, our sailboat, in this safe harbor where we're protected from the storms. Okay? And that's fine. It's like, there's a lot of bad weather outside, we go down to the storm shelter. Here where we are, sometimes there's tornadoes, so we'll have to go down to the basement, and that's fine. And that's, we're protected there. But we're not going to live there forever. Right? Eventually we have to say, okay, the storms are probably over. I need to go back outside and live my life. I need to go check on my neighbors. I got to go check, the house, and I've got to re-engage. Right? So we may feel okay in the storm shelter or in that safe harbor, but it doesn't mean that everything's perfect. It doesn't mean everything's great. It's just kind of like it's barely okay. There's no holes in the boat. Boat's not sinking, but we're not sailing off to adventure either. Okay? And so we're very careful not to get in this rut again. Very careful not to let these blockages sort of accumulate, right? Because then we're not being true to our starlight, and we're not radiating that light as this solar being. We're sort of building up structures around that light, and we can just we can picture, cards jumping off the table here. We can picture the sun here, and we're putting bricks around all this light till eventually it's just covered in dark, and we've built a tower around ourselves, right? So we want to make sure that we don't let anything sort of encase or encrust our solar light. Yeah, and it's in that emotional way. Like I said, we want to stay open. We don't want to fall into the same kind of emotional rut that we've been in. And we don't want to just, like I said, squeak through life with this idea that, well, it wasn't too bad. Okay. Now the final card is our Ten of Wands. Now which card did I drop here? I dropped our Eight of Wands. The Ten of Wands is a card called oppression, right? And sometimes this is the feeling as if life has way too many responsibilities for us, right? I like to look at this card as a card of cooperation, though. This is a card of I think it says we're all in this together. Because sometimes we feel that all the weight is on my shoulders and I'm carrying everything and there's nobody else around. It's a lonely, grueling, torturous existence where I just have to carry this huge burden through life until the end, and then finally I can put it down, right? But I think it's through your Six of Cups, through your connection, through your love for the world, right? And this new way of you relating to your environment, that we realize that we all have burdens to carry, yes, but we can all make it a little bit easier for each other. That through this collaborative and cooperative energy, we are easing the burdens of everybody, including ourselves. So it's the willingness to reach out a helping hand to other people and to ask for a helping hand from other people. Spread some of the burden out a little bit, and it becomes easier to carry. Okay? And so I feel that this is an important thing for you, especially if you're doing some sort of a new business or you're trying to get the ball rolling in some kind of new venture, whatever this new space is that you're creating. Make sure that you ask for help and you accept the helping hand of other people, all at the same time you are in some way doing this as a hand being extended to other people. Okay? Because then we're all holding hands in a big circle, right? And that kind of reminds me of the Six of Cups. And so we're helping others. Others are helping us. It's very interactive. It's very supportive and very cooperative. Okay? You're not an island. You're not going to do everything by yourself. And I think that this is also another way of looking at this is this new project that you're involved with, whatever the details are. It feels like it's really a good way for you to keep this sort of anxious energy grounded and discharged, right? So I think that it's really a good way for you to channel some of this strong, fiery, creative energy that can become anxiety if it doesn't have an outlet. I think this is a good outlet for it, right? We're going from an 8, we're sort of discharging it into the earth in a 10. And so you're somebody that really needs to have something to do, right? And I think this is the perfect thing for you. Whatever exactly it is, something that's bringing people together. It's something that is cooperative and collaborative. It's helping to establish this sense of community. And so it's a way for you to stay involved in something that's going to give you a sense of purpose, that feels like it is your path, your destiny. You're building your best life. And it really feels, it feels perfect to me. It really, truly does. Okay. Let's look at our mystery card here. Is maybe, what could it be? Maybe some more pentacles. But I don't know. I don't think it's going to be pentacles either. Maybe it'll be the Empress. Yeah. If you have a prediction, please put it in the comments down below. Well, it's a 9 of Wands, right? 9 of Wands is strength. And this is someone who has such a deep sense of purpose that they are willing to endure whatever life has to throw at them, right? This is a very resilient kind of energy. This is strength that comes from having a purpose. And when we have a purpose, we're willing to put in the level 10 effort, right? We're willing to go above and beyond, go the extra mile when we feel motivated. And what motivates you more than having a sense of purpose, feeling like what you're doing matters, feeling as if you're doing what you're meant to do. You're doing what Spirit has kind of laid out in front of you for you to do. And that is intensely motivating. Okay? So there's a real strength here. And I think that it is, it's a cooperative strength. It's kind of like saying there's more strength in all of us doing this together than in any one particular person. And it's kind of like the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, right? So a lot of people that have this strength, because they are involved in this with a sense of purpose, creating something that is really like unstoppable. Kind of the strength in numbers idea here. So I feel that this is something new for you. I'm still getting that impression of like a new space that you're sort of moving into in some way. And it feels like it's going to be a lot of work, but it's the kind of work that feels good because there's a purpose to it. There is a satisfaction to it. You know? It's not just, you're not just busting your butt for no one, for nothing and no one. There's a real purpose here. Okay? And it makes all of the effort divine, really. It makes it just a magical effort. Sacred effort, sacred work. Yeah. Now, we're going to do an extended reading. We'll do a hexagram from the I Ching. We'll do some oracle cards. There's a link in the corner. There's a link down below as well. New readings for Taurus, Mondays and Fridays. Be sure to watch both readings. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.